Hello and welcome back to my channel. Jacob Payton here. Today I'm doing a very small book haul. I ended up picking up a couple paperbacks from Hell Books, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to show them off. I'm not planning on doing a lot of book shopping this month, but you know, I did find some cool things quite by accident. So this might be all there is for a book haul in August, so I thought it'd be kind of cool just to show you guys. First up, I have Vampire Child by Ruby Jean Jensen. It kind of has this cool looking vampire with like a motorcycle jacket on that literally has a bat and says vampire. If you've been reading or collecting paperbacks from Hell, Ruby Jean Jensen has written several really good ones. This is probably my favorite cover of hers though. I have been trying to find a copy of this for a while. They were kind of expensive online, and that's kind of what turned me away. But I actually found this in a secondhand bookshop while I was at a festival in another state, and it just turned out pretty cool. So yeah, it was just kind of like one of those stars align kind of moments, and I was able to like snag this for like $4 or $5. And this is a zebra horror paperback. They have some of the coolest covers, and they are also some of the hardest to find, at least in the wild. For me anyway, I don't know. I've definitely seen people online that seem to snag them left and right. I, however, am not that lucky. And it says on the back, Bad Blood. Babette had always adored her younger brother, Patty. She couldn't understand why her crazy mother, Ketty, hated and feared the dear little boy so. Then on one terrible night, the baby of the family, Billy, was discovered dead in his crib. His once pink, pudgy body drained white and bloodless. Hysterical with grief, Ketty banished her own son from their house. Then she dragged Babette halfway across the country, shrieking in terror that Patty must never, never find them again. But that was 3 years ago, and now Patty has come home, no longer a charming, likable child, but a foul creature of the dark, a hideous fiend prowling the shadows of helpless human beings to satisfy his horrifying, insatiable thirst. Yeah, so I mean, it sounds kind of fun. Definitely a different type of vampire book than I'm used to, and doesn't really sound like the cover. But that's okay, that's kind of how a lot of these books go. The covers are really cool, and then, you know, the books are usually pretty good too, but they usually have nothing to do with the cover. Kind of like a lot of some of the like earlier like point horror books and stuff like that. Next up, not such a sweet cover, but I have Richard Lehman's Cuts. I'll be honest, I don't love a lot of the, I think this is, hold on, let me, before I say the company wrong. Yeah, it's like the Leisure Books horror line. I don't know. I feel like the covers could have been a lot cooler, but this was also kind of like around the same time where a lot of horror covers kind of started to look like thriller covers for some reason. You guys have been watching this channel for a while. You know I've been trying to finish off reading all of Richard Lehman's books. And I do it kind of back and forth. I get burned out sometimes. Not because his books aren't good, but because they're pretty dark. And sometimes I just take a break and read something else. And I also jump around genres a lot. But I am still trying to finish off my Richard Lehman collection. And it says, many people have a hobby that verges on obsession. Albert Prince's obsession happens to be cutting people, especially pretty girls. There's nothing he loves more than breaking into a stranger's house and letting his imagination and his knife run wild. Albert's on the run now, heading cross-country, but he's not about to stop having fun. A pregnant young woman, a teacher, a librarian, an aging Southern belle, a famous writer, and a budding actress. All of them have troubles, and all of them are looking for something in their lives. Unfortunately, what they'll find isn't necessarily what they want. What many of them will find instead is Albert and his very sharp knives. So yeah, this sounds like a pretty classic Richard Lehman slasher. He writes, in my opinion, you know, obviously a lot of splatterpunk books, but I think some of the best slasher books in that just the way he writes slashers kind of makes them very interesting. Because I do feel like a lot of the slasher books or quote-unquote slasher books that I read, they tend to read more like psychological thrillers or just more like suspense than horror. And I just feel like Richard Lehman just writes them in such a way, even when you're inside their head, that it's scary, because somehow even when, you know, you're getting the killer's thoughts as he's, you know, writing them, it very much still feels unpredictable, if that makes sense. So I'm very much looking forward to reading this. Tripping over my own words there, I do apologize. And then next up is another book that I had kind of, I won't say I was tracking it down, but it's one that's come across my radar a couple of times, so I was definitely looking to pick it up. if I found it somewhere or it wasn't, super expensive. And this is another Paperbacks from Hell, and that is Parliament of Blood by Scott Sininson. And it says, when the vampires of Las Vegas are after your blood, your luck has just run out. So you kind of have like this card dealer with yellow eyes who is most likely supposed to be some sort of vampire. He also has the super big hair. I think this is another zebra horror paperback. Well, look at that. I didn't even realize this was also a zebra horror paperback. So I kind of really lucked out on this run. It says they were running from a nightmare, running for their lives. They were wanted. The Parliament had decreed it, make them pay. Danielle Walters and her adopted mother Samantha had committed terrible crimes against the vampires, and the powerful High Council of Immortals had placed a fat bounty on their heads. They were running from their hideout on a Native American reservation to the glittering vampire-infested casinos of Las Vegas. Danny and Samantha didn't know whether they were running from a nightmare or into one, for as a half-vampire, Danny was feeling the call of her own blood heritage, the powerful need to take a victim and drink deeply of the crimson liquid that would turn her forever into a creature of the night. Could Danny continue to fight her own tormenting thirst? Could she find vampires like herself who dared defy the Parliament? Or would this terrible battle against her own kind destroy her and her mother for eternity? Bum bum bum. Yeah, so this seems like it's pretty fun. You guys know I love vampire books, and I scoop them up whenever I can. And Vampires in Las Vegas just sounds awesome. There's been a couple book series that has kind of done that a little bit. Although I guess the one I'm thinking of isn't necessarily about vampires specifically. It's just an urban fantasy book. But anyway, before I get off on a tangent, here is the last book, and it is Cat Magic by Whitley Streiber, which kind of has this not so scary picture. I mean, I guess it is kind of a little scary. It's supposed to be like, it's still a cool cover. It's like a ghost cat over top this whole town. And it says, some people in Maywell, New Jersey, commute to New York. Some are working on a lab project that will change the world if it is allowed to succeed. And some people are witches. Amanda Walker is not a witch yet. She's an artist, looking for work, unaware that someone has a desperate need for her. A dark plan that may require Amanda to enter death itself, if she is allowed to live long enough to make the choice. Amanda's tale is far stranger than she knows. It is ancient beyond memory. In times of great change, it must be relived. In all its fear and hope, its wisdom and passion, one of those times is now. So yeah, I am pretty excited to read this just because I haven't really read any of Whitley Streiber's horror books, and I've heard constantly on a lot of podcasts and stuff that he was one of the best horror fiction writers. I think he might still be writing today. He doesn't write horror though anymore. I think he started doing like non-fictions and stuff on like alien abductions or something like that. Anyway, before I start saying things that are wrong and only half remembered, I'm just going to finish up by saying I'm excited to read this. I'm excited to see, what, everyone's kind of been raving about. I've heard really good things about this author, so definitely looking forward to this one and all those books. I'm probably going to do another big vampire read this October because, man, have I got a lot of vampire books this summer. And this summer, if you guys have been paying attention, I've been reading a lot of fantasy and science fiction, so I definitely need to, start getting through some of those books. So yeah, this was kind of a smaller mini August book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed being able to share some of these paperbacks from hell that I picked up. If you guys have picked up any of your own books, let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you've read any of these books, you liked them, you didn't like them, also let me know in the comments. And if you know of any other, just really good, it doesn't even have to be like paperbacks from hell era, vampire books, definitely let me know. I'm always on the lookout for like good vampire horror. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.